Welcome, Seraph Knight, my Facebook friend, whom I found from Todd Medina's Soulology. And I see you every single day posting rapidly on all the happenings with the world, with the earth, all the changes. So I first want to ask you a little bit about who you are for the audience and talk about when you started to wake up and what that experience was for you. And then we can just organically flow into whatever comes up.
Sounds great, Jill. And I want to thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm deeply humbled and truly grateful for this experience with you. And yeah, okay. So a bit about me. First and foremost, I am known in the real world, okay, as Shane Lacey. Okay, that's not my birth name, but that's my adoptive name that was given to me. I was adopted. Is a bit of a story. So I'm going to share with all of your viewers that I was adopted, and my real name, which I found out that was given me before I was adopted out, was Stefan. And then I was given my adoptive name of Shane, and then Seraph was given to me by my twin flame in 2017, and we'd been together for about 2 years from that point. So my awakening started probably around about the age of 35 when I was married. I started to question a lot of things. I started going to meditation group. I found healers along the way as I delved more into the journey. My first inspirational book was the Celestine Prophecies. Would you believe it? All right, so
Love that
all
book.
of them. Yeah. It's really cool. Um, it is funny because it got me questioning a lot about life, and something in the books resonated with me back then, which is why I continue to keep searching and expanding and growing more with knowledge of what is this world really about, and what am I here to do, and what's this all about? Because I started to think I was a bit of a crackpot or crazy person back then when I started this journey, and it was kind of like it was funny, because as you go along this journey, as you start to awaken, right? And I just started on that journey at the age of 35, right, Jill? So I had been like, I was like a fresh baby, so to speak, out of in the new world of like, oh my God, what am I seeing here? This is conspiracy stuff. What? And that was before I even got into YouTube or any of this other stuff. So I knew nothing about the ones that you see now, like Dolores Cannon or Bashar or any of them. I knew nothing about any of them at all. I didn't even know they existed or any of that stuff. I didn't even know when they started their journey, to be honest with you. Um, so I was married and I had 4 children. My former wife passed away recently this year in January. She left this world, and I've been divorced for probably 12. No, I was divorced for 8 years, but we separated about 10 years ago. Yeah, and I've got 4 children. I got into Reiki the age of about 37, energy healing. I didn't know anything about sound healing or any of that sort of stuff at all. It was all sort of like new to me, and I was treating it like it was a bit of a joke, actually, because the mentor that I'd had back then, a gentleman who was a shaman and a healer in his own right, he actually said to me one day, this is going back like 15 years ago now, he said, "You've got no idea what you're going to be doing in 10 years' time." I said, "Yeah, right." I said, "What have I got to offer the world?" And he said, "You think you're so smart? You got no idea what you're in for." He said, come back and tell me in 10 years' time when you get there." I said, "Okay, I will." Um, the, I'll tell you what, Jill, the when you go down the rabbit hole, you go down the rabbit hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when the
Mm-hmm.
universe and your higher self and your guides have got things planned for you, it's kind of like you can't avoid it. or you can, um, but people start dropping into your life, and um, you start questioning a lot of things. Like I had a few people come in my life, and they started telling me about all this stuff about the governments and all this other crazy stuff, and said, "Is he freaking crazy?" I said, "Are you serious?" I said, What's that all about?" And then I just sort of kept following that path to bring more awareness to me, more conscious awareness to me, and it's like it blew my mind. It's like I'm thinking, what the heck am I living in? This is like a crazy world. Oh my god! And I think the biggest thing for me was when 8 years ago in 2015, when my twin flame had come into my life. That was the drop key for me, and I'll tell you now, whew, man, when you go down the rabbit hole of doing your own inner work and starting to heal yourself, wow, that's a whole new fucking level. Oh my god, you, you think you've got life sorted out?
Yeah, that that mirror work with another person, it's next level, and you start to do it with
Oh,
another person, and you
oh
really
yeah.
everything's very, very amplified.
Oh yeah, yeah, and wow, I certainly discovered that. It's like, whew, man, I thought I'd done a lot of inner work on myself, and I thought it was going to be just a breeze heading into the new world. Boy, was I sadly mistaken. Ooh, boy, what a roller coaster ride, man! It is. We weren't meant to be together for for all of this life. We're only meant to be together for a period of time to get me to where I am today. Um, and we're not together currently. Been about 4.5 years since we went our separate ways, so to speak. Always connected in the higher realms. Okay, always. We're
Of
deep,
course.
deep, deep seated love for both of for each other, you know. And there's been a lot of healing over that 4.5 years within myself, um, in regards to things I've done in the past lives and other things and stuff. So, like, um, you asked me what I did. I'm a Reiki here. I'm an energy healer, sound healer. I'm an author, video blogger. I've written my own. I published a poetry book with all my poems that I've written over the last 8 years, or wrote over the last 8 years. 223 poems in that book. That's called Soul
Oh,
Verse Poetry. Yeah, yeah. So it's really cool.
wow. Well, I
That was
definitely know that you have um a gift with the vibration of your tone of your voice. I think
yes,
that me and you have a very similar gift where we do talk through our voice, through our throat chakra, we transmit codes to
yes, we do.
humanity to get to help wake people up no matter what we say, no
Yeah,
matter what the words aren't even important because
no,
it's the tone and the vibrations that are what is opening up and giving codes to the planet. When I first started
that's
to
right.
see you, I saw you first on Todd's show, and then and then I became friends with you on Facebook, and I started to see your lives. And the thing that resonated with me the most about you was that you're very authentic and you have a spirit about you that you're going to say what you need and what you want to say irregardless to what anyone thinks about it. And it's not that
That's
you're
right.
not saying anything that's good, it's just that you understand because you've been on this journey for some time
Oh
that
yeah.
right that the codes and the vibration and holding the space for
Yeah.
humanity is what you're guided to do, and that's
Oh,
something that
absolutely.
me and you both have in common because last summer it was about, I want to say about June or maybe Mayish, I started doing Facebook Lives and I
Yeah.
never had done them. And one day I just felt I need to start doing them. And I just started doing them. And then I got all these people everywhere I would go. I would run into people because I have a Facebook group that
Yeah.
I hold. And I don't know if I invited you to it or not, but I should if I haven't. And I hold
Yeah.
about 300 people in that group, and they're my
Wow.
own personal people. They're my
Yep.
friends, family, people that I consider close. So it's
Yeah.
a little bit over 300, probably close to 400 people, and I've been
Okay.
holding that for 5 years. And so I started posting my lives in there, and I started getting all this feedback, and I started having hundreds of people watching it. And I said, okay, my soul wants me to do this. So
Yes.
then all of a sudden, after I did that for about 2 months, 2 or 3 months, all of a sudden the next thing Spirit was telling me was, you need to do a podcast. And I was like, I don't know anything. I don't know how to do a podcast. I watch podcasts. I don't know what that's all about. And they're like, figure it out. And I was like, okay, I'm doing a podcast. And so then it was so funny. I think I told you this story privately. I just one day I just reached out to Todd in a just a regular message on Messenger, and I was just like, hey Todd, like, you want to be on my show? And like literally like within moments of me texting it, he just immediately wrote back and he was like, yeah, I'll be on your show. When do you want me to be on? And I was like, whoa, like that was the universe like speaking. So anyways, the whole reason why I bring all this up is because I feel like it's a tremendous time now for all of the people that came here for these things, that
Mm.
we have to step into these roles, and we can't be in the back seat, and we can't be hiding in the corner, and we can't be in the closet anymore. So our roles, we're in the front seat now. So we literally went from the back seat to the front seat overnight. And
Oh
there's
yeah.
hundreds and thousands and maybe even millions of us at this point that are stepping into these roles. And so, what I find very important and strategic is that we all need to unify, and we
Yes.
all need to find each other, and we need to collaborate. I just had a gentleman, I think I mentioned to you earlier, the other day, that by the name of Martin McNichol. And
Yeah.
he is my Irish friend who's actually in Portugal right now. And he's in a caravan driving around with his wife and his 5-year-old, and he's doing all these things just like you, all these lives. He does tons of lives. I need to
Wow.
connect you to like-minded souls. And he he was on Facebook for many years doing stuff, and then he just dropped off, and now he came back. But it's just very important that all of us connect with each other, and we support each other. And I'm really proud of Todd. I know that Todd is going through his own changes, and I feel this sense of him wanting to maybe step away, but I feel like what he does is so tremendous, and so we got to keep cheerleading him so
Yeah.
he doesn't
Absolutely.
disappear in the ethers.
No, that's right. And that's the thing, John. This is like if somebody had told me 15, 20 years ago that this is where I was going to be at in this journey in my life, I would have laughed at them and said, you're freaking crazy. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm just a normal, average person. I'm not anything special, And it's not that we're special. It's what we are here to do,
It's our
right?
purpose.
And yes, and I knew nothing about Palladians. I knew nothing about star seeds. I knew nothing about light workers. I knew nothing about any of this stuff at all back in the day. And the first time I got told that I was a Palladian star seed, I laughed and I said, "Are you freaking nuts?" I said, "What the hell is a Palladian star seed?" I walked into this spiritual crystal shop here in a place called Toowoomba, out west of Brisbane, where I live, or on the Sunshine Coast. And it's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. And she said, "Don't you know? You're a Palladian." I said, "I can." She said, "I can see it in your eyes." I said, "What?" And this is like way, way, way back. This is like going back 15 years ago, right, Jill?
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, oh my God, what have I got myself into here? And, because I'm having
Well,
conversations.
I was introduced to this world in the most extraordinary way. I was introduced into it, the beginning of stages of it, when
Yeah.
I was 20, I was 24 years old, and I was with my daughter's father, and
Yep.
I got introduced to Archangel Michael. And so
Wow.
Archangel Michael brought me under his wings, literally, and introduced me to the angelic world and gave me a crash course and a lot of personal one-on-one energy, to learn the realms with the angelics. And so I started my work with the angelics, and they have been my biggest allies, because I know that I've been all the different Palladian, Lemurian, Atlantean. I know I've lived in all those realms, but what I
Yes.
came to do here in this particular time is bring the angelic realm to the forefront as far as to humanity.
Yes.
Because the angelic realm are the boots on the ground that no one sees,
Yes.
and
Right.
they're really, really important. We wouldn't be what we are and who we are if they didn't exist for us.
No,
And
that's
so
right.
that's that's the realm that I have spent the most time with and done the most work with. And I don't have conversations with all the other beings, and I haven't touched into all those other realms in the sense of my particular role in them, but I do have people like you that come up and tell me different things about me that they see and they feel, and that's wonderful. um about the future and about what's coming, I wanted to ask you, are you starting to have the multi-dimensionality in the sense of like feeling like all parts of you at once? Like that's the part to me that's like really next level that's happening right now, where it's like I'm like playing out all the roles, but I could see and feel myself playing them all out simultaneously. So it's not like they're separate anymore. Like they're all, happening at once, and then I can see myself in all of them. How are you doing with that?
Look, to be honest, it's been rather it's been a little bit challenging at times still, because I'm still trying to. I'm trying not to overthink my changes within me physically, um, because as much as I'm in the higher realms, I'm also got boots on the ground, feet on the ground as well. I have children, two, or I've got four children, but two of them are my most priority right now, and I've got to balance that out with my multidimensionality now. I'm stepping back into channeling again from myself personally, um, because we're everything. You know that we've been everything, like you just said. We've been Palladians and Lyrians and all of it. Okay, so it's stepping into ourselves and just coming from ourselves. So the future for me, and I want to state clearly to this, okay, to whoever is listening today or who will watch this down the track, okay, that I don't like to play into the future. Now, there are things that will definitely happen on this planet. Yes, I completely agree with that. But I also want to say to your viewers out there that nothing, and I state nothing, is set in stone on this journey
Yes.
on Earth, and humanity plays a huge role in the unfolding of this new world, right?
Thank you for
And
saying that. Thank you for bringing that, because
mm,
it's really important that people understand, no matter
yeah,
how much projection happens, there's
no, that's
still
right.
always the ability to change.
Yeah, we this is a free will planet, and when it amazes me, and this is like I've had so many downloads from source god, what do you want to call it, over the last 12 months about different things and my higher self. It's been like insane. I've dropped so much old beliefs and old stuff away, especially from the new age spiritual arena. Not to judge it, all right, or put a damper on or anything, okay, but I just want to I want to you've asked me a question, Jill, so I want to answer that to the best of my ability without judgment upon anyone. But the thing that people have got to understand is we are spiritual beings having a human experience here. Now, when everybody says we're heading into 5D, we're heading into 5D, my God, there's all be rainbows and unicorns, it's like, no, it's not. It's not going to be rainbows and unicorns, folks. This is a very, very long journey for humanity. Now, if people out there think that this is going to happen this lifetime or in the next 5 years or 10 years, man, take your tinfoil hat off, folks. With all due respects, I love you, but seriously, take the tinfoil hat off. Okay, it's not going to happen. There's a lot of unfoldings in the next 5 years alone, Jill, that is going to transform this planet. Yes, there are a lot of new technologies coming in. Yes, there is going to be a lot of change. Yes, governments will fall. Yes, they already are falling. There's a lot of truths coming out already, really horrible truths, and more are going to follow, which is going to rock people's worlds if they're open to receive that information. There'll
Right.
be this year alone is going to be a very challenging year, and I want to state that clearly to the folks: is not to bury your head under the sand, in the sand, folks, like an ostrich. Please be open to what you will hear or see, or what may unfold. If you're on the awakening journey, or even if you're not, and you see this information, please just sit back and think, "Oh my God, I didn't know that." Right? There will be a lot of people who get emotional meltdowns over the information that's going to come through even more as we keep going through. I say to people, and I can make a bit of a joke about it, it's like sit back with the popcorn, folks, and watch the show unfold, because it's going to get real fucking interesting this year. In
Yeah,
2024, I'm telling you now.
I had a really big download on Friday, on
Yeah.
Good Friday. I had a very big download to understand that from April 8th, the day of the solar eclipse,
Yes.
until the elections, and the United States elections, which is going to
Yeah.
be about November. It's going to be a very, very, very rocky road, and
Oh, yeah.
it's going to be a lot of people exiting the planet. It's going
Yes,
to
there will
be a
be.
lot of so-called external chaos.
Yes.
There's going to be, false flags. There's probably going to be the internet down. There's going to be some real earth changes, like physical earth changes.
Oh, yeah.
And all of this is going to start, it's already written in the sense of the beginnings, like everything's
Yeah.
cyclical. Even
Yeah.
though this hasn't happened, everything has been already, certain things have been lined up as triggers and trigger points. And
Yeah,
so I do
absolutely.
believe, but I do think too, and this is something that I did a live about today, and I said that, um when I watched something that Martin posted today, and one of the things that I thought it was very potent what he said was, he said to not stop focusing on events, and keep focusing on every moment that you're in, and be in
Mm,
those moments instead of the destination, which we all get, our minds as human beings, we get tied up
yeah.
in the destination of always the next thing, the next, everything in the future. And we put all this energy and all this emphasis and all this time and all these thoughts and all these emotions into all these things that are down the road, instead
Can
of
I
just
speak in a
being
minute?
in the
Sorry,
moment.
Jill. Can I speak to that in a minute when you finish? Sorry, I just
You
want to
know,
add
go
to
right
what you're
ahead,
saying.
right now, go right ahead.
Right, okay. Look, and you know what? I think this is the biggest thing that people don't understand. Okay, this is why I really want to go into this, because what you were saying is exactly spot on. We have been so fucking heavy, and excuse my language, folks, because I'm an Australian and this is just who I am. So take me as I am or not. Okay, the choice is yours. I'm real, raw, and authentic. Okay, when I talk about this stuff to people, right? We have been so fucking heavily conditioned to stay in the future, right? Or relive the past. There is no present moment, and this is what I've been conditioned to see. But this is what I want to say to all of your viewers out there, right? Is that the future and the past is rolled into one. Everything is in the present moment. Now, people can't understand that fucking concept, and even I didn't understand it until years ago. When you're in the present moment and you have a past memories or something comes up, you get triggered. That is in the present moment, but it's the past revisiting you in that moment, that present moment, for you to look at and to clear. The future isn't even written, and we have free will here, so
Exactly.
you can choose your future outline. But if you want to stay in the future, you're going to create so much fucking anxiety for yourself and stress. It isn't going to be funny
Well, and
because,
and the thing is, we're creating it as we go as a collective.
yeah,
And so
yes,
if we're constantly projecting, that projecting is affecting the outcomes. So if there's a bunch of
absolutely,
fear, or if there's a bunch of negative projection about
yeah,
this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, then of
yeah,
course some of those things are going to turn up just because we're creators, we're master
yeah,
creators, and we're constantly
yes,
creating. So if we keep putting all of this attention and energy and focus on something happening, then something is definitely going to happen, especially if you've
yeah,
got billions of people and you got millions or thousands that are tapped in, and all of them are telling the same story. This is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. It's going to make it happen. So I think what the best thing for all of us to do, and this is what I've been currently doing, is I've been constantly putting myself in my highest timeline of where I want to be, what I want to be doing, and how I want
yeah,
to be helping and serving the planet. And those are the things that I focus on every
yeah,
single day. I don't go into next week, next month, and I try very hard not to make many plans. Me and you had to plan this. You're in Australia, I'm in the East Coast of the
yeah,
Americas. We had to make plans for that. But generally speaking, if I don't have a podcast, I try to plan very little because I want to be in the moment of when
yeah,
I'm needed for what, and when I'm just going to jump into it when I'm needed. And I think that more and more of us are getting into that space where
yeah.
we're just allowing things to be and just following the flow of them.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that. I agree with that totally, John. This is what I want to, this is what I get across to people is they got it, and it's not easy. It's not easy to sit in the present moment. Believe me, it is a challenge, and I want to state that to everyone out there who may be watching now or later on. Okay, it is a challenge to sit in that present moment. Okay, um, just before I go on, are you hearing me okay with the volume, Jill? Is that
It's
okay?
very, just to let the viewers know, his volume is low and there's nothing that I know of that I can do about it. So it's not on my end. I don't know if
Yeah,
it's your computer or what you're using, but it's just I on my end I have the volume all the way up and I don't have it on mute.
yeah,
So
I've
I'm
got mine
not
up.
sure why the volume is doing that.
No, I don't either. Honestly, Jill, and this is why I'm yelling. I'm virtually yelling just so you can hear me properly at the moment. I'm speaking really, really, really out loud. So, yeah.
So am
Um,
I.
yeah. So, all right. So, anyway, but the point is, folks, is um, this is why you've got to stay in the present moment because you are creating the future by what you and this we're not Jill and I are not here to fearmonger folks. We're not here to fearmonger because to be honest with you, Jill, and I want to go into this right, the 8th of April is it's a solar eclipse, a phenomenal amount of light coming into the planet who to bring up all of our freaking shadows, all of our dark shit, so that we can heal it. Then we've got the Devil's Comet on top of that. What a bloody freaking name to name a comet, of course. Devil's bloody Comet on the same day. Everybody's in fear. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. No, it's not the end of the world. It is in one way, but it's the beginning of a
Well,
new
let's
world.
let's also let's also remember that the government is also doing all these weird things in different
Yeah,
states where
yeah,
they're like bringing that fear up by a state of
yeah.
emergency, and oh, we got to
I
worry about
know.
the roads, and we got to worry about the food, and we got to worry about the
Uh,
technology, and putting all those things out there. We are master create God creators.
yes,
we
and
we
this is
can
what people
create
don't
in or out
understand.
of anything.
Yeah, and people don't see that. They don't understand that because This is why they do these fear things. This is why they do these events to fucking create fears. Like, oh, we've got them under control now. Oh, right? Bullshit. Guys, everyone is powerful. This is why you must master your thoughts and listen to the ego. What is your ego saying to you? Is it having you in a state of anxiety and fear all the time because you are listening to what everyone else externally to you is saying? Or are you actually sitting in your heart and saying, you know what? I trust that I'm going to be okay. It's going
Same.
to be another day, just an amazing solar eclipse with lots of energies to bring up our emotional shit and our shadows, which we have to clear. And this is the other thing I keep saying to people about. And I want to talk about this too, Joel, without, and I don't want to talk out of school too much about it. I don't want to go into too much. And it's not a judgment, it's just what I've seen over the last 12 months myself. Is that, and I'm seeing a lot of people talk about it. The new age spiritual arena, the new age spiritual community has been infiltrated, right? With certain people out there saying stuff, oh, you don't have to do anything to heal yourself, it'll just happen naturally, and this solar eclipse is going to wipe you all out. You'll be fine. You'll be completely healed. You won't have any more emotions to worry about and all this rubbish. And I'm thinking, that's not true. That's not true. That is not true. That is a big false flag, freaking psyop, freaking crap. For 8 years, okay, folks, whoever listens to this, I've done the inner work on myself, and I'm not, would not be here if I hadn't felt the deepest core wounds and traumas that I've been through in my childhood. For any of you out there, if you look at me closely and like I see the light in Jill, I acknowledge Jill. She's a beautiful soul, and because obviously, like attracts like, so you're going to attract those people that you see it. They're going to come to you as well. But what I'm saying to you is, please stop listening to everybody saying you don't have to do anything. There's a soul flash, and just wipe everyone clean, and everyone's going to be happy days. We're all going to be running around and they're going to be
Well,
singing
see,
rainbow
that's the thing
songs.
too. And we have to keep in mind, and this is something that I remind myself,
Yeah.
everybody's at a different place.
Yes, that's
And
right.
I think
Yes,
that the important thing to realize, and we all came here to have a human experience, right?
that's
So
right.
when we
Yes,
came here, we didn't come here to just evolve overnight and just become something else. We
no,
came here to have all the feelings and
yes,
experience it all. And to experience it all, we have to go through many, many, many valleys.
yes,
There's some beautiful peaks, and we will experience them as well.
yeah,
And the more
absolutely.
work you do, the more peaks you experience. But you can never bypass the
No,
inner work that you must do.
no,
There's
absolutely,
levels to this. And everybody
absolutely.
thinks, like, I hear people talk about, oh, I'm in this level, I'm in this level. And I had this one friend, and I'm not going to mention their names. It's a
Yeah,
friend that I just made recently. And he told me that he was on the fourth on his way to the fifth, and I knew in my mind, I was like, oh wow, like there's like 12 levels to each level. Like, it's
yeah,
not like, oh, it's one thing and you just get through it and there you go, you're on to the next dimension. That's not how it works. It's
mm-mm.
tremendous work to travel even from the third to the fourth. Even people
Absolutely.
that are so-called spiritual are still stuck in between the third and the fourth.
Yeah, they
And people
are
think,
Jill.
oh yeah, I'm on my way to the fifth. Listen, it's such a journey. Like, I'm 51 years old, and I'm honest with myself. I know where I'm at. I
You're
have
only
seen
51.
glimpses of the fifth. I've seen glimpses,
Yeah,
glimpses. I've seen glimpses of the fifth, and I've been in the fifth. Can I stay there? No. Am I ready to stay there? No. And I am quite honest about that. I'm
yeah,
not trying to
absolutely.
fool myself. I'm not
No,
trying to fool anyone else. I understand it is so much that you have to let go of. You have
yeah,
to be a complete empty vessel, and you
yeah,
have to be in a state of complete divine neutrality where there's no judgment on anything. That means rape, that means death, that means
Yeah.
the worst atrocities.
Absolutely.
You have absolutely no, you have no uh resistance to this. It's not that you accept it like, okay, it's good. It's that you don't resist it. You understand it's all part of the earth and how we work. It's gonna get better, but you can't resist. And people want to be like, oh, I'm there. I'm at the fifth. No, you don't even understand what divine neutrality is. Matter of fact, you don't even understand what truth is, because
Uh,
truth is like it's like a key. It
yeah.
unlocks things.
Yeah.
The more truthful you are with yourself and other human beings, and you know this because we've been
Oh, I
talking about
do.
it
Yeah, I do.
personally, the more truthful you are with humanity, the more kickback and resistance you get because you're showing them parts of themselves that they don't want to see. And
That's the
I came out of a
problem, Jill.
relationship
Yeah.
not long ago that I went through something similar to you. I got
Really?
a lot of resistance on giving truth to someone. They asked
Wow.
for it, I gave it to them, and they didn't want it. So me and you talked about this. If you want to speak
Yeah.
about that, because I know that's something recently that you've just went through.
Um, what I want to share with everyone out there on that note is a lot of people don't want to hear the truth. Now, this is because they're not ready to acknowledge the deepest, darkest parts of themselves, Jill. Yeah,
I
and
know.
I'm not gonna speak out of school. This beautiful lady is an amazing soul that I was just with for a short period of time. I've known her for a couple of years, but we were doing stuff, going to do stuff together. But when I confronted her with her stuff and the fact that I wasn't happy with where it was going, I got yelled at and projected at in a short message of anger, and she then unfriended me. Now I'm not angry with that because from the higher level I see what's going on for her, right? And I get it. I get it.
You triggered
But
her. You triggered her, and she
I
hasn't been
did.
able to
I
deal with
triggered
it
her.
yet.
Yeah. And so let's go into triggers. So when we get triggered, for anyone who out there may not understand the concept of triggers, a trigger is when or activation. I will call it activation actually. Right. When somebody gets activated in a negative way, right? It's because there's something within them that they need to heal with them in themselves, whether it be from childhood wounds or adulthood wounds or past lives, possibly. Who knows? Okay. Now, this is where it takes a lot of conscious awareness to step back. And when somebody gets activated like that or triggered, whatever you want to look at, this is why it's important for everybody to have the conscious awareness, step back and say, hang on a minute, what's happening here? And what do I, why is this happening and what's going on? Now, when this happens, because the problem in this world, Jill, is no one is taught how to communicate properly or correctly to anyone out there, right? It's like it's all yelling and screaming and you did this and you did that. Oh, you're the victim, and you be the victim, and then you're blaming them, or they've been the victim, and they're blaming you. It's like all this emotional shit. Okay, this is what gets me frustrated with humanity because so many people in the spiritual community they think they've got it all fucking sorted out. They haven't. Not even I've got it sorted. I'm still learning stuff. Like so much
But
stuff, even the
but
last 6 months.
let's be truthful. We're going to be learning stuff until we die. It never
Yes.
ends.
Thank you.
It
Hallelujah.
never ends. The levels, it's like the
Oh yeah.
never ending infinite video game. You
Yeah,
pass one
totally.
level, you got 1,000 more to go. It never
Yes.
stops. And
No.
actually, the more you know, the less you know. And that's
Yeah.
something that Martin just told me when we had the last podcast. He said, I know, he goes, Jill, I know nothing. And I
That's
just
right.
laughed at him. He's like, I
It's
know
true.
nothing. And I loved it when he said it because I'm like, you're right. Like it's so good for us to mirror these things because
Yeah.
we get on these high horses that we have some sort of master code
Yeah.
truth. And yeah, we do have information to share, but we also really, the learning never ends.
It
You
doesn't
know,
end,
it's like,
Jill, and isn't that fucking beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Like I embrace how much I can learn on this planet. Now, somebody said to me the other day, and not to me personally, it was in a video this guy did. I don't know if you've heard of him, Jason Estes.
yep, I know Jason.
Yeah, right. Okay, I follow him not all the time, but I do watch some of his content. And he was saying this is like a 200 to 300-year journey for humanity, folks. So stop with the craziness of thinking it's going to happen. You're going to see this lifetime.
Yeah,
It won't.
he talks a lot about the points
Yes.
and getting to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
certain
yeah.
points.
Yeah,
And
data point.
he's
Yes.
he uses a lot of context that's almost like a video game. Like he
Yeah.
uses all those kind of contexts in order to
Yeah.
explain his understandings. But I
Yeah.
find his stuff, I've been listening to him now for a handful of years, probably before COVID, and he's got some truth. He's got some wisdom in his videos.
Oh, yeah. But people don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They're stuck in this delusional state. And this is why I said before, and no judgment, folks, because this is the month where we're working through a lot of judgment too upon our brothers and sisters out there, okay? This is where this is what I said before. The new age spiritual arena has been infiltrated with psyops to freaking try and take you away from yourself, to stop you connecting to source creation, because you have all the fucking answers within you. Every single one of you have the answers within you. How
Well,
many times I've
and
said
that's
out
the biggest, if there's one thing that we can share that's very important and we
yeah,
haven't touched on it yet, is this is all an inner journey, and really
yes,
the inner journey is about meditation. It's about
yeah,
stillness. It's about not running from yourself through alcohol, drugs, through
yes,
distraction, through, empty
yeah,
sex, through just distracting yourself
yeah,
with mindless, even just scrolling on the phone all day and all night and just distracting yourself from yourself. This is the time to take the inner walk, the inner journey to yourself. And that means putting all that stuff aside and
yeah,
not running from yourself anymore, but really, really letting yourself have the feelies, feel
yeah,
all the things, good, bad, heavy, sad, angry, whatever comes up. It's not going to be released unless you allow yourself to really feel it. And no, it's
yeah.
not a picnic. It's not a
No,
picnic to go through it. Sometimes I've had moments and times in the weeks and months where I just feel very sad, and I embrace it. I don't try to figure it all out. Where is it all coming from? What does it all mean? Sometimes you're not supposed to. You're just
no, you're
supposed
not.
to feel it and let it go, because it could be ancestral and you don't even know where it comes from,
Yeah.
but it needs to be felt.
Yes, and I agree with that. And everything you said, Jill, is on the nail for me. It's like spot on. And I want to add to that actually, because it's whilst we're doing the inner journey, we're at a point now where we don't need to be. We're not meant to be chasing it down either, because there are a lot of happy moments in life as well, and we want to be able to enjoy this 3D existence as much as do the inner work. And this is what I want to share with people: is it's about balance, okay, folks? It's balance. You must balance out the world we're living in with the new world that we're stepping into. That
and
means
and I always say, one foot in the old and one foot in the new. And so I feel
that's
like
right.
that's like our past and our
Yes.
past understanding, and then
Yeah.
the future, like the AI, the technology, all the things
Yes.
that are new, embracing them. So
Yeah.
not being
Exactly.
afraid of them, not being
No.
scared of them, accepting them in, because they are part of our future. And the more
That's
we
right.
resist those things, the more it's going to cause so many problems for us.
Oh, absolutely will, and it's going to create more havoc for people with their emotions as well, because they're going to be constantly fighting against the new. This is the thing. We're not here to fucking fight each other or the external world. We're meant to embrace it, all of it, right? You don't have to like it, but just embrace and accept it, what's happening across the world, okay? And but because loving yourself is everything, like you said, is loving all of us, every single aspect of who we are, everything that
Yes.
we've been. You know, we've been a murderer, a rapist, or freaking uh, an angry person, or a judgmental person, whatever the case. All of it, every single intricate layer of it. Because I will tell you now, Joe, I'll share this with you and everyone. Even in past lives, those who've even had one or two past lives, I've had fucking, I don't know, probably 50, 100 past lives. Probably I've been around for a long time on this planet. But I've been everything from a rapist to a poor man to a rich man to a freaking beggar to bloody everything. I've been everything
Right.
all
And
encompassing,
all of us
right?
have.
Yes. And this is what people do not understand about. I don't want to call it reincarnation. It's previous incarnations. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. That's whatever. But
Other
the fact
other
is,
other versions, because right now
yeah,
we're
other
collapsing them.
versions of
And so
ourselves.
this woman that I watched, and I can't remember what her name was, but I liked the ways that she explained it, because she explained it like we're an accordion that's been spread out
Yeah.
with all of our
Yeah.
lives. And right
Yes.
now, what we're
I
going
love it.
through is a process of bringing the accordion back into its original space. So we're
Yes.
taking all those versions of ourselves and we're collapsing them into one.
Oh, I love
And so we're realizing when we get to the end of it, which there's no end, but when we get to the end of the understanding of that, is we become a unified being that does not have any aversion to anything, because
it. No.
that unified being realizes they're everything.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why it's such a journey for humanity as a whole. This is why I said it's a couple of 100 years journey for us. And and you said there many people will leave the planet this year. And over the following years, a lot of them will leave because they're just not meant to be here this lifetime.
Well,
And
yeah,
they'll
they
come
they
back
chose. I
and
believe
do it
they already
again.
chose it. I believe that
Yeah.
that was a choice that they already made before they even
That's
incarnated as a
That's right.
human.
It is true. That's right, Jill. They have. They've chosen to come for a short term and then leave. And that's exactly. Let's get into that, shall we? Let's talk about soul agreements and soul contracts, shall we? Let's
Yeah,
talk about
let's
that.
talk about that.
All
You
right.
can
Let's
start
talk
it
about
off.
that,
Go right
shall we?
ahead.
Yeah. You and I have got a soul contract that we came together as friends, right? And do this podcast and whatever else. And whatever else expands between us is will unfold as it unfolds, right? But
Right.
this is what people get cranky about when I talk about this, and not a lot, but quite a few. They get triggered by it or activated by it because, like, soul contracts is a contract you sign to to go through what experiences you are going to go through and what you came down here to learn this lifetime, okay, or any other lifetime for that matter you've lived in. Right, as you said, it's all collapsing in. So some of those experiences that people have had may be absolutely quite horrendous. From that maybe they've been raped or nearly raped or close to murdered, or they've had abuse in their families or traumas so chronically. It's like, why the hell would I go through that? Does not God love me? No, God loves you dearly and deeply, or source, whatever you want to call it, right? But the fact is, you signed up to come down and experience that. Because when you get out on the other side, if you choose to, you're going to wake up and say, you know what, that was a gift. I wouldn't have been, if I hadn't had that experience, I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't be here today to be on the other side and know how much love I have. And I want to say the other thing too, Joe, and this is what people also struggle with as well in this world. And I don't understand why. I really can't understand that concept. Why people, I want people to understand that no matter what happens to them, you got to remember that there is things that have happened in their lives that have caused them to be that way, and they're just they're a player in the game, like you were talking about, who's come onto the stage, right, as an actor to assist you to get to where you want to be. Now, those people who've had those horrible things happen to them, they can embrace that and say, you know what? I'm going to use that as a launching pad to be the best version of myself and become even better than what I've ever been. And I'm not going to let that affect me. Or, or because we have such free will on this planet, and I'm going to go into that in a minute too. This is another great discussion. Or they can use their free will and say, you know what, I'm going to be a bit of twisted old freaking lady and man for the rest of my life. I'm going to hate them. I'm going to be in anger and I'm going to despise them. I'm going to freaking hate the rest of the world and I'm not going to trust the
No,
world anymore.
and those are the people I believe that want to be in the 3D
Yeah,
existence and are going to
yeah,
leave the planet and do it somewhere else. That's what I
exactly. They
really
will.
truly believe.
Yes, they will. That's right. They will, Jill. And that's okay because there's no right or wrong with that. Yeah, is it
Right.
sad? Absolutely, it's sad. But they made that choice. They chose out of free will. It's like, well, no, I came here to learn this. I don't want to learn this. This is too much. No, too bad. I'm leaving. That's the end of the story. Okay. And that was the
Yeah.
same with my beautiful children's mum who passed on recently. It became all too hard for her. She wasn't meant to leave so early, but she chose to leave because she was stuck. She got stuck and she didn't know how to get out of her stuff, and that's okay. I love her dearly, and always will, no matter what. Right? She's an amazing piece of my life. For 22 years, I was with her and married her,
Well,
and the third,
and something too that I think we should speak about, and I think this is really like an uplifting idea and a
yeah,
concept, and I know it to be true because I've seen it in my own
yes,
existence in my 51 small years here in this incarnation is you never know, and I'm sure you can attest to this in your own life, when you deal with somebody maybe 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, and you planted a seed in that person, right? You don't know. You may have lost touch. They may have, you know, they may have closed the door on you, right?
yeah,
You have no idea. They may come back 20, 30, 40 years from now, or,
yeah,
from when you first had your dealings with them, and they will
absolutely,
say to you, they will say, you did this one thing, and I never forgot that you did this, and it changed my life. And I've had multiple people come to me over the time of span of my life and tell me that I planted a seed in them, and that seed grew, and it grew to a beautiful, beautiful garden, and they became a different person because of something I said or did, because of the seed. So this is my message in this moment right
yeah,
now is to say you never know what little thing, very little thing that you can do for another human being right now, that even if you think they're hopeless, like not hopeless, but you think, oh, they're never going to get this, they're never going to understand this, they're never going to evolve. Just one little thing can help them tremendously on their path, that could catapult them in a way that you could never even imagine. And
yeah,
someday, somehow, it will come back to you and you will get to see the flowers that you planted. And
yeah.
that's
That's
really
right.
important because sometimes we do get in these mindsets where, well, they're never going to change, or they never want to change, or they never want to understand what I'm telling them, or they don't get it, or they don't want to get it. And yeah, there might be a little bit of us feeling like we're banging our heads against the wall, or a little bit of frustration because
Yeah,
we some of us have been doing this for our whole entire lives, and so
yeah,
it's a little monotonous at times. But I will say every single good deed and every single kind act ripples out in the universe in ways that you can, in other planets, with
yeah.
other beings, that will
Absolutely
be
does.
felt. One
Yeah,
little kind act.
it's all it takes, Jill. It's all it takes. And this
Yeah.
is, like I've had a varying degrees. I've done a lot of good stuff in my life, but I've also been quite a horrible a person as well at times. Okay, um, and I'm not going to go into detail because it's the past. But for me personally, I just want to share with people like some of the stuff I some of the crappy shit I have hurt people in my life. Right, I nearly ended up in jail. Actually, at one point in my life, I'm going to share that.
Oh, wow.
Right, I nearly
Wow.
ended up in jail. I didn't because I had God on my side, and I took. Oh, now hit this. I love this. So thank you so much, higher self. I'm going to share this with you. This is the other problem that we have in the community, because this is what we want to go back to: people not acknowledging their traumas and their pain. Is they don't want to take accountability
For their
or
shadows.
responsibility for their shadows and what they do to other people. You know, that's not a
Yeah.
judgment either. It's just a bad but fact, truth. And
Every
people
single
will do,
human.
yeah,
Every single
right?
human.
And
Every
the
single
reason
human.
why,
There's no one that escapes this.
no, and the
We've
reason why I
all
got
done
off
and
that,
said and been things that we don't,
yes,
that are horrible.
absolutely. Now, I ended up with a criminal history, right? Because even though I didn't go to jail, I ended up with a criminal history, and that's now cleared, right, over a period of time. But it was pretty horrible. I was absolutely really quite fearful at that point, because I had started, I was in my journey, I was in my spiritual journey, and I was trying to figure out what to do to heal all this stuff. But what I didn't realize, it went down generations, it went down this life, and it's like a whole pile of stuff. But I just want to share that with people. But there's a piece of you that you didn't know, Jill. Okay, I'm not proud of it, but I accept it for what it is. What happened back then. But this is the other thing: is people have free will to to choose. Now, if they're not going to be accountable for their actions, the energy they put out is what's going to come back to them, because the universe doesn't make mistakes. It'll send
Yeah.
you people to show you what you're meant to be learning here. Okay, and this is what people don't understand. They need to understand it. So if they want to change their lives, change themselves, change their frequency, change their energy signature,
Well,
because every
let's talk
person,
about that, because that's that's a really important fact, because
mm,
people think of like that movie The Secret, and they think about
yeah,
magnetizing things and the power of attraction, and they don't the thing that people must realize is you are only going to attract that what you are, and what you're thinking
absolutely.
about, and what you're thinking
Yeah,
about, and
totally.
what you're putting your energy into, what you're
Yep.
putting your mind and your thoughts and everything into is what you're going to create. You can't,
Yes.
if you're constantly worried about scarcity, or you're constantly worried about money, or you're constantly scared that you're going to lose everything, you're just going to be drawing scarcity to you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that whole idea that it's all like you have to be like right now. In the old way, the way that we used to interact, it
Yeah.
was we worked hard, and we would take time, and we would think about things, and we would think about them over and over and over, and that's how we would create things in the
Yeah.
old ways. Now, the ways that we have to bring things to our reality is we have to already feel that we have them. We already have to get into the sensation of what it feels like to have everything we want. Once we create those feelings within inside of us, we can then attract those. And Joe Dispenza and his work, he's excellent. I don't know if you're aware of Joe Dispenza.
I've
He's
heard of him.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
he's very fantastic. He teaches people through meditation and through his workshops and all of his a lot of books he's created. He teaches people how to change their thoughts.
The other thing too, I want to add to that as well, Jill, and it's also holding gratitude for what you already have in your life. Because if you're constantly whinging that you haven't got enough, and you want more, and you want more, and you want more, it's not gonna happen. You have to be completely and absolute gratitude for what you have. It doesn't matter whether it's the crappiest car, or whether it's the freaking smallest house, or whatever. The more that you, and or even if you got like $5 in your bank account, for goodness sakes, be grateful for it all, because you know what? The more gratitude you show as well, yeah, you can, obviously you can create more, yes, but show gratitude and then it'll come to you more without the without the expectation as well, but set forth to that, because I want to share with everyone here. I live a very simple life. I don't have a TV. I do have things in my house, but not, I don't have a lot. But I love the simplicity of how I live. And I didn't have a lot of financial abundance last year, but between November and this year, up to this point right now, my bank account is just growing because I set forth and I shifted all the limiting monetary beliefs. Now, I want to state, and this is just me, money is not the be all and end all of everything in this world. We need it. It is a currency. It is an energy currency, but it doesn't mean you have to go out and be a millionaire and prove to everybody, look at me, I'm so fucking great. Look at me. Oh yeah, and drive around in the flashy cars and the expensive houses, which I'm not arguing. Hey, if people want that, that's great. Let them have it. That's fine. But for me, that comes from ego mindset, right? Of, oh yeah, I need to be validated. I need to be accepted. So I'm going to go buy a Ferrari because I've just won, $5 million in lotto or whatever. I mean, and it's not like, I mean, if
Well,
you want
yeah,
that, folks, have at it.
there's been so many very rich people that have spoken about this,
Yeah,
that have spoken
exactly.
about attaining all the biggest wealth that you can have as a human, and
Doesn't make you
how
happy.
unhappy they were and how
It doesn't make you
miserable they
happy.
were,
No,
because it's not about what you attain. It's about who you are and how you treat others and how you exist
exactly.
in this world.
Yeah, totally.
And those are it's all about love, and it's
Yes.
not to be all like, you know people,
Hang on,
when
hang on,
you
hang on.
say that,
Sorry.
like when you talk about
It's
love, people
it's
get
about
very like
authenticity, which
cliche,
leads to love. Yeah.
but it's not about romantic love. It's not
No.
about partnership love. It's about unity love. It's about
Yes.
appreciation and acceptance of everything, and having
Yeah.
that love vibration, that Christ consciousness of like no
Absolutely.
judgment, just accepting everything as it is and finding the best in the darkest things, finding the
Yeah.
lesson
Absolutely.
in the darkest things, and the path to to your next self in a dark
Yes.
moment. Like, I've had some dark moments in my life, and I could make lemonade, or I could taste the sour lemon, and I
Yeah.
always chose to make the lemonade time after time after time, and sometimes I was all alone making that lemonade, but you know what, it was fine. It was fine with me, and I still to this day, and that's something that I think is very powerful, is your attitude, the way that
Yeah.
you accept things and the way that you frame things. One of the greatest teachers that I ever had, that was a writer, was Wayne Dyer. I'm not sure if you're
Yes.
familiar
I
with
know Wayne
Wayne Dyer.
Dwyer as
Yeah.
well. Yep.
Wayne Dyer always talked about in his books and his presentations, he always talked about the idea of the way that you perceive things and the way that you
Yep.
view things, and how you can be offended by something, or you can be grateful for something. And there were
Absolutely.
so many of his books that I read. He was one of my first spiritual teachers way back in the day. I probably have like 7 of his books. But the thing I love the most about him is he always had a super good attitude. No matter what happened to him, no matter what things he went through, he was adopted, and he was in a foster care system, and he went through tremendous horrible things, and he always was, good. He was always happy. Like, he always got through it. He saw himself through it. And he ended up he ended up not trying to get all this wealth, but he ended up in Maui. Like, he ended up in Hawaii before he passed. Like, that was his last, place he lived. He had a
Wow.
glorious life, but he touched so many people. And the thing that I learned the most about him was just that attitude,
Yeah.
and I had that before I met him. It's not no accident that we meet people that we're like,
No, that's
just
right.
like you have a very magnetic personality, and you're very strong with your personality, and you can affect people with that.
Thank you, Joe. I'm humbled by that, and um, I'm grateful because I don't go out of my way to look for that from people, and it's quite shocking to me when people say, "Oh my God, you're just so amazing, Seraph. Thank you so much." And I think, "Oh, thank you. I'm just being me," and that's all I am. I am. I'm just being me. I'm being my real, authentic me, and I think that's the gift I have to people, give to people. Um, it's taken me a long time to get there, Jill. It's taken me 4 years to find my true, authentic self. And you know what? I have moments where I dip and fall on my ass. We all do, but that's
Yeah.
okay because it's part of my learning experience here, and that's beautiful in the essence of it all. And I think the attitude of gratitude is the greatest gift you can give yourself, and pick yourself back up. Um, I could have sunk into an abyss, and I did for quite a while back then in the day when I was charged. And it took me 12 months to get past that. I was constantly sitting in fear every freaking day for a long time. And I had to do a lot of emotional healing around all of that, what had happened. And but I kept picking myself up, and I kept moving forward, and I kept forging ahead, one step in front of the other, regardless. And I think that it takes a courageous person to walk towards the dark. They say walk towards the light. Well, we're actually warriors of the dark as much as we are warriors of the light.
Can't
And
have
if
one
you can
without
walk,
the other. There would be no
no,
light if we didn't have
no,
dark.
yeah, if you can walk towards the dark and walk through that fire of transformation and metamorphosis within yourself, you're doing a fucking phenomenal service to God, to humanity, and more so to yourself, because that's the key. And this is why I'm here today, because I kept walking through that fire. And people are inspired by my what I've done and what they've seen of me over the years. Some have walked away, and others have. Most of them have hung in there with me, and but some have walked away, obviously, and that's okay because it's not their journey to.
Well, we're not.
Uh,
We have to. Always remember we're not for everyone. We're not.
no, it's right, and
We're
we're
a
not meant to
very
be.
specific. We're a very specific
Yeah.
taste. We're a
Yes.
very
Exactly.
acquired taste, and sometimes the truth of the way that we bring it.
Yeah.
I'm a Sagittarian. I'm very fiery. I hold nothing
Ah,
back.
that's why you and I get along so well because I'm a Leo. If Sagittarius and Leos get along like a house on fire, literally.
But seriously, I mean, but that kind of truth and that kind of honesty and that kind of vocalness is
Yeah.
not for everyone, and I
No.
realize that, and I don't fault anybody that doesn't that can't accept that. But
Yeah.
my friends do know, all of my friends, every single one that I have, and I have a big network of people in this world. Everyone that really calls me their friend understands I'm never going to lie to them. I'm never going to hold up something false to them. If one thing they know about me is I'm always going to give it to them real. Does that
Yeah.
mean that I'm trying to be abrasive? No. Does that mean that I'm going to tell them not what they want to hear, but what they need to hear? Yes. I'm always going to say what someone needs to hear. There's ways you can frame it, of course, that aren't going to be as sharp, but sometimes you can't help the sharpness.
No. No.
Sometimes somebody in
Blunt.
that moment
Being blunt.
actually needs the sharpness. Wow,
Yeah.
my light just flickered when I said that.
Yeah. I
My light
saw that.
literally
It's
just
kind of like
flickered in my
the
living room
whole.
when I said that.
Yeah. It paused for a moment. Like, uh oh, where is she? What's happened? Right.
No, I think there was supposed to be like an explanation point. The universe is like, yes, yes.
People pleasing is one of the biggest things for people to clear at this lifetime, Jill, because so many people, and I want to go into this too, this goes back to childhood trauma of children will go when they're so shamed and abused physically or emotionally or whatever the case, they shut down and they become the people pleaser of, okay, for me to save myself, I have to stop and do everything that mum and dad say, or whoever it is, if there's just single parents, whatever, to save myself from getting in trouble all the time. And what happens is that's the other thing too. This is why people get rubbed up the wrong way because you and I and others out there are so real and authentic with people, and they call it out. They're blunt, but so many people are scared of being that way because
Yeah, but you
it's
know what?
it
I
trigger.
think that I think that we are that way with ourselves. Like I
Yeah,
know the same bluntness that I give to others, I want that for me. Like I
yeah,
tell my
totally.
people, please, if you have something to say to me, please, by all means, tell me if you have an issue, if you don't like something, if you need something to be a different way, or you want something a different way, or you see something that I cannot see about myself because
Yeah.
we're blinded about ourselves a lot,
Oh, absolutely.
then
Yeah. Yeah,
please
totally.
show me. And you know what? The handful of times in recent times that people have come to me, I haven't attacked them. I haven't gotten angry with them. I actually thanked them. And I've said, thank you for telling me that because I didn't see that about myself, or I didn't realize I was doing that, or I'm working on that. That's something I'm working on, like actively working on.
Yeah, I wish I really want more conscious conversations like this one with you, Jill, and others. I mean, I do get them at times, but sometimes the thing is, when I am blunt, like you said, with others, they don't take lightly to it, and they get really angry and upset. It's like, well, man, I can't help it. I'm just being honest with you guys. I just, tell me the same. Be the same with me, and because like you, if somebody calls me out, I'll turn around and say, oh yeah, okay. Didn't see that. All right. Where I used to, and I'll be honest with you, I used to get really angry and like, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. Rah, 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 like roar like a lion. And it's like now I sit back and say, all right, let's let's have a look at this. And they say, oh my God, Seraph, you used to get really angry at me. And I said, yeah, I used to, but I don't anymore because there's lessons for both of us in this to learn, right? And yeah, so
Well, that's
I
why,
was,
and that goes back to the also that like divine partnership. I think both of us are both on the same page about this, where we
yeah, we
both
are,
understand the value of a divine partnership because
yeah,
in a divine partnership, you can mirror for each other in ways that you can't in friendship. So when you are
that's true.
romantically involved with somebody and you let down all your guards, because
Yeah,
when you're romantically involved, you're physically intimate, and so your guards come down to a deeper level, and you then can really really see someone and they can really really see you, and
mm,
then you can see yourself through them, through your experience, and you can
yes,
learn a lot from those
absolutely.
experiences.
And that's what a divine partnership's all about, right? And this is what I mean, I would want you to call me out on stuff, Jill, if you needed to at any point, and I would call you out on stuff at the same time. And this is the beautiful thing about that. When you have that kind of partnership with somebody, it's amazing if you can have that one person that will actually turn around and say, "I'm working on this, sweetheart. I want to let you know that I've been triggered by you or activated by you in a negative way. I need to go and take some time so I can look at what's going on. If you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. Otherwise, I'm just going to go and do some healing work around it, and I'll come back and talk to you about it later." Because that's also That's also taking responsibility for yourself and well, and not expecting the other person to heal you. You can obviously have them
No, and
hold
there's
space
and that's
for you.
not, people can't heal each other in that way. So all
No,
people
no,
can
it's not
do
meant to be.
is hold space,
Yeah.
listen, and be compassionate and have
Mm.
grace. And
Yes.
and what the other person has to do is they have to go into that wound and they have to feel it. And they
Yeah.
have to
Totally.
acknowledge, "Oh shoot, when I feel this way, where does that come from?" And then they start to think about it and they're like, "Oh, well, when I was a kid, this happened," or "Oh, when I was in this past relationship, this happened." And then it's like, what if they really take the time alone to really evaluate those triggers and those
Yeah.
things that somebody said or did, they really can get through it. And honestly, and this is what I tell people, I don't know how you feel about this, but I think most people, and I know that I'm a little more accelerated than most people in this. Like,
Yeah.
I know not everybody can do this like me, so I'm not trying to put this out there that this is just like everybody's thing. But I think most people can actually pass through these things fairly quickly and heal through things fairly quickly if they're really intentional about it.
Well, and that's the important thing, Joe. I would appreciate, and I understand what you're saying, and I agree with that because if their intentions are to heal through it, they can, and they can pass through it really quickly if they sit back and they acknowledge how they're feeling, being authentic with either a friend or their lover, whichever the case, right? Then they can move through that really quickly. And it's not an easy task because so many people are scared of seeing, like as we talked before, seeing their darkest aspects of themselves. Now, I just shared something really vulnerable and authentic with you earlier on. Now, that took a lot of courage for me to do that, and me saying, you know what, I got nothing to lose by sharing that with Jill on this podcast that she has. Okay, because I feel that I can trust her. When people come up with something, I for a woman to come into my life, I want to feel and see the deepest, darkest secrets.
Oh
I
yeah,
want to see it all
exactly.
because that is sexy as fuck to me. Right? That is sexy as fuck. You come to me and you tell me the worst, darkest fucking shit you've done to people, and I will sit there and I will love you even more. That's as
Well,
sexy to me.
I
Oh
think
my
that
god!
what you're touching upon, and I'm not trying to speak for you, but I'll try to make it a little more reverent than what you just said. Is I think you're trying to
That's
say that it's very attractive for people to be truthful with you. And I feel
yes,
for myself, when I have somebody, a man especially, very vulnerable, and somebody that's willing to say, I've done this, I've done that, I've experienced this, I've experienced that. And they share it on their own without prompting or prodding or pushing or me asking a ton of questions. I think to me, that shows the character of the man. And
yeah,
to
I agree.
me, that makes me trust them more, you know, for me to share with them, for me to say, hey, you know, look, I've done this, I've gone through this, I've had this experience, like there's so many things in my life that, especially when I was young, that I'll share one with you. So when I was in my 20s,
Yeah,
before I had kids, way before I had kids, I used to I used to drink here and there. I wasn't like a alcoholic or anything like that, but I would go out and drink. And one time I went out with my brother, my older brother, and it was for St. Patty's Day. And it's a very big deal around here because we have a lot of Irish immigrants in Syracuse. And so we
Yep.
actually have a light that's upside down, that's green on the top, and like we paint the street green, and we have all these Irish bars, and it's like a big deal here. So,
Yeah.
anyways, when St. Patrick's Day comes around, it's a big party fest. Like they have a big parade, and like everybody just goes out drinking the whole day. And so one year I decided to do this, and I got so drunk with my brother because he's a much bigger guy than me, and he was a
Yeah.
much more of a drinker than me. And
Yeah.
I wasn't much of a drinker. Like I would drink every now and then, but I was, younger, and he's a few years older than me. And so we went out and I drank so much. And then I came home, and a family friend, a few houses down from my parents' house, was having a St. Pat party on that night. And then I had more drinks there. And then I went into someone's house that was next door to us. It was a new neighbor. They only lived there probably, I don't know, 6 months. And I walked in their house and I told them that they can't live there, that that's not their house. And then
Oh my god.
it's funny now, but it's not funny because it's not okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, and this is something I don't share with everybody, so I'm sharing it with everybody here. And then I got into an argument with my dad because my one of my best friends was getting married, and I was the maid of honor in her wedding, and I was supposed to take out her and all the girls. We were supposed to go to a bachelorette party, and I was supposed to be driving her. And I was no shape to be driving anyone. But in my mind, I was like fighting with my dad on the I was rolling around on the ground with my dad trying to get my keys from him. I mean, this was the night of hell. And let me tell you, I after that, I barely ever had a drink after that. Like I stopped. Like that was it. Like I know it wasn't like I wasn't an alcoholic by any means ever, but this whole experience scared the living crap out of me because I just was not who I am. Like the things that I was doing and the ways that I was behaving was,
Yeah.
alcohol induced, but I still allowed myself to do that, which was my choice. I take ownership. But to this day, I think about it and it just disgusts me. I'm like, I can't believe I did some of those things. Like, not okay on any level. But these are parts of my shadow. And I take ownership of them. I think
Yeah.
back every single St. Patrick's Day. I think back to that time and that moment, and I stay far away. I don't even have a sip of alcohol, and I'm not a drinker at all now. Like I'll drink
Yeah.
maybe a half a glass of wine with my parents on a rare occasion, and that's
Yeah.
like what my drinking is.
Yeah.
But this was like I stopped really drinking like in my 20s. Like I drank a
Wow.
little bit when my kids were around, but they never saw me drink or anything really like that. But the bottom line was we do these things, we have these moments in these shadows, and it is okay, and it is good for us to speak about them. It's
Yeah.
good for us to
Absolutely.
remember that we have all these sides to ourselves.
Yes. And this is a thing I think. And thank you so much. I want to acknowledge you, Jill. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. That is really beautiful and funny at the same time. It's like, oh well, okay. I can share plenty of moments with you about that. I can tell you. Uh, um, this is the thing. People treat the past as it's like a bad thing, and whilst a lot of things we do in the past certainly aren't appropriate in any shape or manner, alcohol was introduced because it introduces dark entities because then they overtake our body, but also stops us from feeling emotions. And this is
Oh
why
yeah.
I drank alcohol back in the day because of my traumatized childhood that I had. Um, my adoptive dad used to beat me every other second day of the week if I did something
Mm.
stupid or bad. I was physically abused and torn down to the nth degree, where I was literally thrown up against the wall numerous times by him. I don't know how the hell I survived, but I did. And it was not a very nice household to live in at the best of times. and I share that vulnerability with everybody on this podcast today and you. But this is why it's so important. I know I know how challenging it is for people to acknowledge their past traumas because sometimes it really takes a fucking strong soul and a courageous heart to walk through those depths of despair and trauma and pain and sadness and grief and all of that because your childhood was literally ripped away from you. But to get to a point where
Yeah.
you are now, you're not a victim, you're a survivor. If you get to this point as an adult, you're not a victim, you're a fucking survivor,
Well,
right?
and
You survived.
honestly, like I went through a lot of abuse in my life too, and I think that the things that it taught me and what I went through, it taught me to pay it forward. So what I
Mm,
did was all the things that I went through, I now, even though I don't have a degree in it, I could counsel people. Like I could counsel people on sexual abuse. I could counsel
yeah,
people on emotional abuse. I could
yes,
counsel people on physical abuse. I could counsel people on, gaslighting and
yeah,
all the different things that I've gone through. I could, really like I could make money from what I've gone through. I don't
yeah.
choose to do that, but what I do choose to do is I have a big scope of information that I can use to hold people, to hold space for people, just the
That's
same
the
as you
thing.
can.
Yes, yes, that's right. And I want to say, just on a side note, just going back a little bit, when we're talking about the other lady that we were just talking about before, the one thing she always complimented me on, and other women, though I do know of a few women, of what a great space holder I am, right? I do hold space really well for people. And that's one of the things that you and I have got in common, other than other things as well, Jill. And that's
Yeah,
where I want
yeah.
to head. I don't have the support, right, of getting out there and doing really what I want to do fully. Uh, I don't have the technical knowledge like a lot of people do. But I managed to get by. I get by, right?
Mhm.
So I think for me, within a conscious relationship, would be someone who would support me with my dreams as much as I would support them with their dreams, and to help me with the things I can't do, and for me to help them with the things that they can't do. Because that's
Yeah.
what it
Well,
is to come together and support each other like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with you. And I
You
believe
know?
that this is the time that we're all going to find our divine partnerships, and they're
Yes.
all going to it's coming. It's just it's like something being growing. It's like
Yes.
it can't manifest and pop up until it's ready, until
No.
it's
It's
fully grown. And like these experiences and these people, they can't come to us until they're ready. And that's what I always tell myself, because I've had, just like you, I had a twin flame
yeah.
recently, and I thought it was more of a soulmate, but it was a twin flame. And so I still think there's unfinished business on some levels, because we still have to like there still has to be more closure, because there wasn't enough closure, in my opinion, in the way that we handled things. And I know that that's coming. I feel it's coming. But I know, like you said, we're meant to teach each other things.
Yeah.
And as far as that goes, it's a very, very tough path. Some people stay with their twin flames for a long, long time, and it's very
Yeah.
challenging. And other people stay with their twin flames for a short time, and they both get like a zap of of to the next level, but then that's enough. So,
Yeah. That's the thing I had to realize was that my twin flame and I were not contracted to be together forever because there were things that I couldn't show her that she had to learn. But we were the reflections of each other, of the same childhood traumas and all of that. But because and I don't want to go into it,
wound bonding.
yeah, right. And the fact is that we couldn't. She didn't want to learn, and she had to go and to someone else to
To get to
get
the
those
next level.
lessons.
Yep.
Yeah, because I wasn't that person to show her. Okay, because of my gentle heart, right? But whether we come back together, I don't know this lifetime, and that's entirely up to her because she has free will, right? And that's where I'm going to leave it at that, all right? Because I've let go.
Well, you know, right now we're in retrograde. Remember
Yeah,
that, friend.
don't even go.
Retrograde. Not
Don't
that we
even
want to
go there with
obsess
that.
over we don't want to obsess over astrology, but we do want to have a caveat that we are in retrograde until the
Yes,
very end
yes,
of April. So
I know,
anything
I
is
know,
possible with the
I know,
past.
right? But
Not
anyway,
that we're trying to project that. It's
no,
just
no,
the
no, no,
idea
no.
that
Yeah,
retrogrades mean anything can come back from any time period, from any life, and it can come back into your right this minute now existence. And then you get to decide how you want to go forward. Do you want to go forward with it? Do you want to kill it dead? Or how do you want to look? You know what I mean? Like
I
it's
know what you're
really what's
saying.
gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Oh,
I
I
know it's
must.
funny.
Yeah, it is. I must say to you, Jill, this has been the most amazing conversation I've had with you today on this podcast, and I really want to thank you from the depths of my heart so much for inviting me onto this. And I would do another podcast with you. I do a couple of podcasts with you over the time if you want,
Oh
because this
yeah,
is
we could do
this
it
has been amazing.
once a month. Like if you want to come
Yeah,
on once a
yeah.
month, you can
Oh, that'd be
come on
great.
once a
Yes.
month.
Yeah.
I have had Todd on 3 times. I
Yeah.
told Martin I want to have him on regularly. And you should check out if you don't know Linda Good McGillis, you really
I
should check her
know,
out.
I know Linda Good McGillis and Alexander Quinn as
So
well.
Linda has been on my podcast already 3 times, and
Well, okay,
she's going to be coming on to my podcast again on
yep,
Saturday. So
okay, cool,
I wanted her to come on before the eclipse because I
yeah,
wanted her to share whatever she wanted to share with that because she is always spot on, like so many things that she talks about. So a lot of people watch my channel because I have her on so frequently. So if you want to
okay,
check out the last one, I had one about 3 weeks ago, I want to say, is
yeah.
when I had the last one with her.
Send me the link for the YouTube, or I'll have a look on your page, Jill, and flick through the
Yeah,
video.
I think it's
All
the third one back. So
right,
you
okay,
just
cool.
scroll down and you'll see it.
Yep, no, that's good. I'll do that because, I mean, this is like a this is like a launch pad for me, even further to get out there because the last interview I did with Todd, that was the twice I've been on Todd's show in 3 years.
Mm,
So that was really cool because I feel it's important for everybody to. Look, everybody's got different perspectives. We spoke about perspectives before. Everyone's got a
mm-hmm,
different perspective of how they see things. It may not exactly be the way that they wanted it to be compared to our truth. Um, and that's okay because eventually they'll see it or not. It's up to them. But I like you and I resonate with what we're saying because we know from this is our perspective, this is how we view it. And
mm-hmm.
Jason Estes is spot on when he says there are going to be a lot of people coming into the 5D with a lot of emotional wounds and traumas still, but they're willing to heal that, and that's the gift. I think we can't have it all rainbows and mung beans because it's not the way this meant to be. It's just not.
Did you ever watch? He's no longer alive, which makes me sad to say. But did you ever watch Franco Di Nicola? He used to be on Todd's show.
Who? Who?
Franco
Oh, Franco De Nicola.
Di,
No,
Di
I
Nicola.
knew of him. I knew of him. I knew of him definitely.
Yeah, he used to be on Todd's show a lot,
Yeah, he
and
was. He was.
he had his own show and he would teach, and he
Yeah.
was unbelievable. He was actually everybody that actually is out there now. everybody. We're talking about Judy Kissel. We're talking about everybody. He
Yeah.
to me was my favorite. Like I used to watch him religiously. Like he would be, because he had his own show, like his own
Yeah.
podcast where he would teach
Yeah.
people, and he would have so many episodes, and I would watch every single episode. And then just like about a year ago, I want to say, it might be longer now because I can't keep track
I
of
think it was a
time.
little over a
He
year ago
passed,
now. Yeah, he
but
did. I remember
he
that.
was battling pain and cancer so bad. And I, the amount of pain that he was suffering while he was on Todd's show. But I feel like in some ways, his energy and who he is inspired me to do what I do. And I wish that he was still alive because I would have him on my podcast. But I did connect with his son. And I think I'm going to have his son on my podcast because his
Cool.
son does stuff too, not to the level that his dad did, but he's very awake.
Wow.
So I might have his son on.
That's awesome, Jill. For me right now, and I know my journey is different, and some people may resonate and they may not, and that's okay. For me personally, I'm protecting my energy as much as I can, and I'm resting as much as I can because the energies are really compounding on me a lot, and I'm. This is why I don't do a lot on social media at the moment anymore. Like I used to be on all the fucking time. I used to do maybe two, sometimes three live videos a day. I used to pump out
Yeah,
like
but
freaking.
honestly, you're doing a lot still, friend.
Yeah, I am.
You are.
I am.
You are
Yeah,
doing a lot because every
yeah,
time I turn around, I see a posting. So you are doing a lot. So I don't mean that in a like it's too much. I just mean like you are doing a lot.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah. No,
understand if you need to take time because I was doing at one point last summer, I was doing a live every single day. And even one live a day was a lot for me because I was really like putting my energy out there. And it was so funny when I first started doing the lives. One day, Todd happened to be like see my live and he came on. It was so crazy. He came on my live. It was so
oh,
nuts. I was like, "Oh my God, Todd." He's like, "Hi, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh my God, you want to come on?" He's like, "Yes." I was like, and it was like literally like 8 o'clock in the morning my time. So I can't even imagine what it was. It's probably like 7 or something his time because he's in
yeah.
Texas,
I
but I'm on
want
the
to.
East Coast.
I want to start teaching and share. I mean, I am teaching now, Jill, but I want to share more stuff with people. Um, I think I feel that a lot of people have taken the whole thing about spiritual and not earning money as I think they've taken that to the extreme, saying, "No, no, you can't share, you can't charge for your gift." And I want to go into this, please, if you don't mind. You can't charge for your gifts. How dare you? How dare you charge for God's gifts? Why would you do that? I want to say to all those out there who think that it's incorrect for me or Jill or anyone to charge for sharing our gifts, I feel that's a load of bullshit.
Well, see, to
I'm just
me,
going to
this
say,
is what I think. I agree with you. I think there's a happy place, a happy
yeah,
medium. So I
yes,
think that there should always be a certain amount that you give away because
yeah,
that's service. And then
yes,
there should
that's right.
be a certain amount that you can make money to exist. Now, I don't make any money on anything I've ever done, but
No,
I also I also know that I will and I'm open to it. I'm not like
yeah,
one of those, I will never take a cent. The universe knows when it's time for me to take money, I will accept money for my gifts because I do
yeah,
freely give so much of myself, so
yeah,
many ways. So it is time for me to cash that ticket in, and the universe knows when the right thing comes along that I feel like I really line up with to take money, I will step into it. I don't have any resistance. But I
no,
have been one of those hard, what is it, like hard nuts to crack. Like I have been
yeah,
one of those people that had resistance in the past, but I have gotten past that. That was like something ancestrally because, I come from a long line of druids and
Yes.
witches and
Yeah.
all kinds of energies that were, had to be in hiding. So those energies I had to make peace with in order to get where I am right now. But I
Yeah.
do understand what you're saying. I do agree with you.
Oh, and I want to go into this too, Jill, because I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna leave off soon because I got other things I got to do this morning. But I want to share with you also is that for people out there to be very, 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 and I can't stress this enough, discerning of what they listen to and watch with predictions, people who are predicting exact dates and time frames, and this is going to happen and that's going to
Yeah, I
happen,
know.
and
I know.
all this, right? And I once again be very careful of these uh, self-proclaimed. Uh, I don't want to label, but I'm just going to gurus who, because all of that false matrix stuff and that fake facade stuff is going to collapse over the
Hmm.
next 2 years, and people are going to be seen for who they are, their true colors. And that is,
Hmm.
I'm talking about the ones that put the masks on, right, and hide their true, authentic self and is only in it for the money. This is
Right.
what I'm saying. Now, I, like you, I believe in balance, but I also believe there are many people out there who've made millions and millions of dollars off people, and it's all about the money for them, and they don't give the correct information, right? And people, and this is the other, people give their energy to them and say, "Well, you help, you're going to fix me because I don't know how to do it." When this is where the power comes in, where you take your power back and say, "You guide me, and I will do the inner work," right? Or I will
Right.
guide you, but you are going to do the inner work. You are going to heal yourself because you can heal yourself, right? And this is where we're at, and this is why I want to warn people about that too, because not everybody out there is genuine. A lot of the gurus out there in the spiritual community are quite fake, and
Yeah, it's true.
they only want the money, and they charge
Well, I think
exorbitant
we're going to
amounts.
also see in the future years, religion is going to be completely different. Everything's going
Yeah,
to be
absolutely.
completely in a different it's going to be handled in a different way.
Yes, it will
It's
be.
coming. It's
No,
coming.
it
But
is.
right now there is a lot of false prophets. There's a lot of
Yes,
people
and
that are not who they say that they are, and they're just
no, it's right.
and even if they're not about money, they're about taking your energy. And to me,
Yes,
your energy is actually even more important than your money. I mean, obviously your money is your energy in some ways extended
yeah, it's
out,
right.
but
Yeah.
deeply your energy and your time is the most important valuable gift that you have.
Oh,
And if you
absolutely.
just give you all your energy and time to one person or one thing, one teacher, you're even I love Linda, and she's an actual friend of mine. I consider her a friend. Like, she's not just someone that comes on my podcast, she's my friend. And
Yeah.
even with her, it's like I love her and I love to listen to her, and I know she has a ton of wisdom, but there's people that like idolize her, and that's not healthy. Like, you can't have people idolize anything, that like just follow this person just because they've had a
Yeah.
good, they've impacted them on some way, and it's like they just automatically just are like tapped into that. And it's like
Yeah.
it's okay to listen to her, but it's also, you always have to do everything through your heart, and your heart
Yes.
has to be the gauge. Your heart has
Yes.
to be telling you, oh, this makes sense, oh no, this doesn't make sense, oh, this makes sense, oh, that's not for me.
Yeah.
And most people that are worth their weight in salt are always going to say to you, take what resonates and what doesn't. Just like Amanda Lawrence, she's one of my
Yeah.
favorites. She
Oh,
every
yeah. Amanda
single
Lawrence,
time,
she's awesome. Yes.
every
Oh,
time she has a video, she says, take what resonates, what doesn't work for you, throw it out. And
Yeah.
I love it that she says that every single time. Now she's a special angelic being. Like she's
Ooh,
very,
yeah,
very special. Like
very,
she right
yes.
now is like, to me, the closest thing to a human angel that I know. She's
I
so
absolutely, I won't.
angelic.
Yeah, I won't argue with that. No, no, not
Yeah.
at all. And I think
She will say, even her who doesn't have a mean, disarming quality about her, will say, take what resonates, what doesn't, throw it out. And she always has powerful wisdom, and she always has powerful dreams and powerful writings, and I like her. But I think with everybody, it's got to be through the lens of your own heart. It doesn't
yes,
matter who you're
exactly.
listening to, what they're saying. It's got to be from your own heart.
Has to be Jill because this is the thing. Yeah, and the other thing, and I've stated this so many times in my videos that I do, my live videos. I say, if it doesn't resonate with you, folks, throw it away. I'm
Yep.
not here. I'm just sharing my truth, my perspective. If it doesn't resonate with you, then that's okay. And I've said before in the past, don't put me on a fucking pedestal. I don't want to be put on a pedestal. I'm
Well,
just
it's
like
kind of,
you guys.
isn't it weird? Isn't it weird? Because now I have people sharing my lives, and it's so weird to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, people are sharing my lives. I'm like, that is so weird to me. Like, I can't even get past that. Like, do you still feel that way when people share your lives? You're like, oh
I,
wow, that's weird.
I actually get it when I mean they share my lives and my blogs, my written blogs. It's like
Mm.
and
Oh,
I
that's
look at a
beautiful.
written blog 15 times, 20 times. What the hell is going on here? What
It's good
and
though,
I'm thinking,
because you
okay,
know what? You know that the thing about it, when that happens to me, I don't go into an ego place. I just
no,
go into, wow, my purpose is really being fulfilled. The thing
yes,
that the universe and God wants me to do is really happening, because I was guided to do this. This wasn't like, my friends will tell you, my closest friends will tell you, I was so resistant to starting to do podcasts. And even when I started, lives, and then even when
really,
I started my podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, should I really do this? Is this really what I'm supposed to do? And all my guidance was like, Jill, you have to do this. You have to do this. Because for many years, like, I don't know, like my very first podcast I ever did was in my house, my townhome, and it was many years ago. I went to see a female guru, and I was really lit up. And I came home, and I did like a little live like video. And then it was 10 years since then that I started this up.
wow.
And it was like I really had to like be like kicked in the butt to do it. I had to be kicked in the butt to do it.
I'm pretty sure you could probably share a lot of stuff to help me get a bit further along. But I guess at the end of the
Oh,
day, for me too, Jill, I'm on my own journey, and if I ask for help, if I need help, then I ask for it. You know, I think the biggest thing for me at the moment is I'm seeing the world change so drastically. I'm seeing a lot of people in emotional despair as they have their emotions come up and their traumas and stuff to that they're moving through. I know that a lot of people don't want to hear about loving themselves or their darkness because every time I put up a post about it, they walk away and say, no, we don't want to hear about that, Seraph. We want to hear about the love and light and the transformation of the planet. Well, I'm sorry, folks, to disappoint you, but until you transform yourself, that world ain't going to come because not in your life anyway. Right? So,
no,
um,
it's a
sorry to
lot
blow
of,
you away,
it's a
folks.
lot of going, it's a lot of going in deep, and it's a
Yeah,
lot of
deep.
being truthful with yourself, and it's a
Yes,
lot of seeing yourself and all the different ways that you are, and making peace with yourself, making peace with the
totally.
parts that are hard to
Yes,
look at, and also
yes,
loving yourself in ways that you never thought you could, like giving yourself
that's right.
grace. Like I sometimes I'll come home from work and I'll be so tired, and I'll like want to just veg in the couch. And I don't like yell at myself. I'm not like, what the heck's wrong with you? Get your butt moving. You got things to do. I'm like, all right, sit your butt down, rest this 51-year-old body. Even if you look like you're 30, you're 51, rest it, rest your body, enjoy yourselves, relax. And
Yeah.
I have like self-talk. I have self-talk with myself. And I don't argue with myself. When myself says, do what you got to do, I say, okay, I'm listening. And that's how, we have to teach everyone to do that.
Yeah.
Like, because there's so much external pressure on
Yeah.
what we should always be doing and how we should always be doing it. And you know what? The only one that knows what we're supposed to do is us, our
Yeah.
soul. That's the
That's right.
only one that knows.
Not everybody else. And this is the
Exactly.
biggest thing I've been preaching, not preaching, sorry, this I don't want to use that word. This is what I've been sharing with people out there and saying, for the love of God, take a bloody chill pill and relax when you want to, when you need to. Don't berate yourself. Stop berating yourself. You're allowed to lie in the fucking lounge. I've slept on the lounge numerous times in the last couple of weeks for a couple of hours. I've just laid in the lounge with a pillow and I've just crashed out for an hour or two. And I got three other people living in the house, three ladies living in the house with me, sharing, help me pay rent. But I just crash on the lounge or I'll go in the bed and have a snooze. It's like, yeah, okay, that's good. I don't care. Whatever. I'm not going to argue with it. I'm tired. My body's saying rest. And I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to rest. And do what is right for you, folks. I cannot stress this enough to stop listening to all the people out there with their yappa, 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 and their naysayers and saying, no, you're crazy. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be out working like the rest of us. Well, you know what? That's the conditioned fucking program, folks. Let's get real, right? You don't have to work 7 days a week. Find your passion, get creative, and freaking follow your heart. Stop listening to
Yep.
all the other ones out there who say, but you have to work, John. How are you going to pay for your mortgage, John? How are you going to expensive to pay for that new car? Well, you know what? I don't need a fucking new car. I'm happy with the car I have. Right? Material. We'll go into that and that we'll do when we get another podcast done. We'll touch on a whole pile of
You're
stuff.
so
Okay?
cute.
It's fucking true. People laugh with me. It's like, oh my God, Seraph, you're so fucking wrong. Oh my God, you're such a freaking crazy person. You're so right. It's like, it's true. Why? You can have a new car, yes. But is it a need or is it a want or a desire? It doesn't matter, but it's not the fucking be all and end all because money doesn't make you happy. A new car will never make you happy because you'll be happy for a short time and then it'll be like, oh, I want a new car now. And then you'll go and buy another one in 12 months or 2 years' time. You're over that one. It's like, oh, no, I want the newest, latest one, right? Or the house. The house will never make you happy, you know? And happiness comes from within, folks. Let me just share this with you. Seriously, I'm 95% at peace and happy within myself and joyous, right? And if something comes to me that I can go buy a new car, yeah, I'm going to buy a new car, but it's not going to be the be all and end all of my life. No, it's a car. It's a material piece of freaking metal wrapped up in energy bloody frequencies and all of that. It's like they can be taken away from you tomorrow, right? And I'll tell you another. There'll be another story down the track too about how I nearly died last year in a car accident.
Oh
But I'll
my
tell you about
gosh.
that another
Yes, we'll
time.
save that. We'll save that
Yeah, we'll
crazy
save
story
that.
for
Yeah,
the next podcast.
yeah,
But yeah, we
yeah.
we should do this. Let's try to do it at least once a month.
Oh,
So
I'd
if I
love
know
that.
you, and now we know the times that work, so we'll try to do
Yes.
it around this time every time. But
Yeah,
yeah, we
absolutely.
both got to get going because it's like probably like 9 o'clock. Let me see what time is it. It's
It's
nine
11 o'clock
o'clock
here.
right now, and then I don't know what time is it your time?
11 o'clock here. 11 a.m.
Okay. Yeah, we
in the
both got to
morning.
get
Yeah.
going.
All right.
But I really enjoyed our conversation, and I think that we're going to do many more together. So
Yes,
thank you for
definitely.
coming on,
Thank
and
you.
let's keep in touch, friend.
Oh, don't worry, we will. And I'll share this onto my page when I get it up
Yes,
when
and
you get it up.
as soon as I get it all downloaded and uploaded and
Yeah.
all that stuff, I'll then shoot it on to you, and you'll be tagged in it. So
Thanks, Jill. I so much appreciate you, and I send you my love, dear blessed heart you are, and we'll definitely talk again soon for sure. I love this. Thank you, and love to everybody out there in the community whoever watches this. I send you my love, my grace, and my blessings to you all during these challenging energies. Self care, self love is the key. All right, take yourself out of toxic environments if required, and Jill and I will get together again at some point. So look forward to
yeah,
seeing you all
soon.
again
It'll
soon.
be very soon. Bye, friend.
Bye.